Well, I think it's gone through its first reading now, but the new electoral legislation that we talked about, the Electoral Amendment Bill, has passed its first reading in Parliament. That's designed to make it harder for people just to rock up on the day and vote. In fact, they won't be able to do so. They will need to register their particular vote. That legislation that has also passed its first reading on Tuesday afternoon, so what's that, yesterday afternoon, also bans prisoners from voting, and there are a number of very emotive speeches about this particular issue. But one of the speeches that I found interesting yesterday was Justice Minister Paul Smith saying that confidence in the Electoral Commission has fallen in recent years, and we know the system has come under significant strain. This bill overhauls a number of our dated and unsustainable electoral laws. Now, it has been seen, though, by the left as a dark day for democracy, they say, making it harder for people to vote, and aimed specifically, they are alleging, both the Green Party and Te Pāti Māori as well, at their voters who, for some strange reason, can't register, but do like to rock up on the day and vote, 110,000 of them at the last election. Joining us to talk about this and a couple of other issues as well is ACT Party leader David Seymour. David, welcome to the show. Lovely to have you on.
Yeah, hey Mike, good to see you.
Listen, did you just have a scrap with Chloe Swarbrick on the New Zealand Herald and they stopped it because it was all scrappy, was it?
I wasn't aware they stopped it for that reason. I thought they just ran out of time.
Oh, okay.
But it was pretty interesting. You had Chloe Swarbrick saying, "Oh, I'm listening to David's nonsense." Just before that, they'd had Russell Norman, the former Green leader, on there saying that the government lies. I think there's got to be some, and Chloe saying, "I'm the only one who shares facts." I think you can't stand there and say that, I'm the adult in the room and I'm here with the facts to, debate if you're not prepared to accept that other people might be aware of some facts too and also have a perspective that maybe isn't nonsense. So look, I don't know. I mean, if people are seeing it that way, that's a shame. But I just think, we need more civility and debate generally.
Yeah, well, you've been in the recipient of a lot of incivility for, well, all of this Parliament in particular. Do you think it's going to change anytime soon, or do people just regard now going to the emotion straight away? This is the emotion button and we just press it straight away. Is it just part of the way in which politics is done in this country now?
Well, I don't know because that depends on how a lot of other people choose to behave. But I certainly hope that we get to a more problem-solving approach and that we start to look at the things we have in common, which is, there's only 5 million of us. We're stuck here on these islands. We've got an opportunity to make a real shot of things. But you've got to be prepared to say, okay, what are the problems? What do we have in common? And what are some of the solutions and which ones should we adopt? So if you look at something like oil and gas exploration, the right answer is that we probably don't want to burn coal if we can avoid it. Everyone's more or less on board with that. What are the alternatives? Gas. So, everyone should at least be positive on gas, but we're not seeing that. Similarly, when it comes to an issue like health, there's a big argument. Maybe there need to be more taxes and more spending. I mean, we've spent an additional $14 billion. We've gone from 18 billion to 32 billion in the last 6 years. So it may not be about money. People can argue it's about money, but I would argue it's about how do you get efficiency out of the money that you've put in, which is what the government's trying to do. So, I think just a calmer problem solving and engineer's approach is probably a better way to look at these things.
No, okay, well, fair enough, but good luck on that one too, just quietly. Listen, the electoral amendment bill's passed its first reading. It's caused a great deal of upset on the left because they see it as gerrymandering of electoral changes. Are there other countries that do it the way that we do, or have we just decided that we want people to be a bit more orderly?
Well, if you look at Australia, you've got to be enrolled 4 weeks before. That's when the cutoff is. If you look at New Zealand in the past, there was a great piece by Richard Prebble in the Herald about 2 years ago, where he pointed out that having the roll published guarantees the integrity of the election. And when he was campaigning back in the day, seat by seat, his team would actually take the electoral roll. In one case, they went to a house that had 18 voters registered, and it turned out that they didn't actually exist. Now, when you have a system like we've had, where anyone can show up on the day, don't have to show ID, you just have to show that you are who you say you are. Sorry, just say that you are who you are. You don't have to show it. Then that leads to questions. Well, we had an election decided by just 4 votes. Are we sure that there weren't at least 5 people who maybe shouldn't have been voting where they were? Well, no roll was published. Anyone could
Mm,
show up on the day. I'm not saying that it was wrong, but the thing about this is it's not just that you need the election to be free and fair. You need people to believe that it's free and fair, and the rules that we had in place don't allow us to do that. Making sure that you have to be registered before the voting starts, I think, is an enormous help. And what's more, other countries it's longer. I also just make one other point, if I can, that's been lost in all of this. If you look up the Electoral Act, Section 82 says that if you're eligible to vote, which means if you are someone who is a New Zealand citizen or permanent resident, you're physically present in New Zealand and you're 18 years or older, then you must be enrolled. It's actually a legal duty to be on the roll. You don't have to vote, but you do have to enroll. You can argue whether that's right or wrong, but that's what the law says. So when I said these people are dropkicks, I'm saying, look, this is a process that is simpler than ordering a pizza. You go to vote.nz, you put in your details, they mail you something to verify that you live at the address. You've got to get the thing that they send you and show that you've got it, and then you are enrolled. That's all you have to do. It's a legal requirement. And what we're being told is that there's a whole lot of people out there who, even though it's 1,000 days, 3 years between 2 elections, there's just no way that they could do that to follow the law. I'm sure they can order a pizza, but they can't do one little thing for democracy. And I think that's dropkick behaviour.
okay. Yeah, the rhetoric aside, the interesting thing that you note though is that you've got 4 weeks. You've got 3 years less 4 weeks to be able to register. The Just listening to you now, there were 110,000 people that rocked up on the day last year, 2023. I'm interested, can you actually be assured that those people were who they said they were?